oh, I'm going to do it. And they're like, well, we know you flash time, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's positioning defensively away. I think looking back at what, the old situation, I think he was just trying to deny assist gold and not give it to Peyz. But that was sense. One of many things that went wrong in that game.
Well, you know what? It's going to be completely different champions this time around. And so BNK get a different crack at it. They are going to take away the Lucian.
Yeah,
so Diable's not going to be heading towards that one this time.
It's interesting. Lucian did get a buff, and obviously it's a pick that Diable is very proficient on. But interesting, they've moved to this high prio on banning that. It does free something up.
Yeah.
So the question is, for T1, are they banning
Rumble, Pantheon, or Jarvan?
Yeah, they're banning the Pantheon, so looking to get that Rumble first pick. Presumably, BNK FEARX, I was going to say ban Rumble. No, they go for the Jarvan ban. Maybe thinking with Ezreal down, they feel pretty uncomfortable playing into it, but this is just a first pick Rumble. And with how Doran played game 1, I would not want to give him Rumble. Like, he was crushing a matchup that for the majority of the time, most times is just favored towards the Yorick. Especially once his ult becomes available. And Doran crushed it with very little outside help as well. So
this is what I was expecting. I thought that a Cassante would be coming through. Instead, they're going to pivot over towards the Yunara Lulu in the first round. I think they still need to pick something into the Rumble. I think it's such a problem that you don't want to give 2 bans to T1 against it. But they might steer away from it, maybe get a priority jungler instead.
T1 could go Ashe Seraphine here. They could go Caitlyn plus like Lux here. There's a lot of options you could take to just crush this in the 2v2. And with how game 1 was, I'd be a little bit concerned. Instead, opting to go for the Vi. You could even go for like Vi Nautilus if you really want to make sure Yunara can't play the game. But Vi definitely given that point and click CC and lockdown onto a pick who obviously is a big late game threat. Annie available, Azir available.
Yeah,
we'll go for the Azir. A classic for him. And I think T1 pretty happy with that top side. Daystar, the Akali was definitely something on the cards. We saw it banned last game, and it was hovered as well by BNK FEARX. We've seen the Akali do well into the Azir. In fact, we saw it happen yesterday when it was Roma against Faker. So I think a good matchup, at least for the mid lane for BNK FEARX.
Yeah, but it does mean now there is no answer to the Rumble still. And so T1 can throw a couple of bans that way. We'll see whether they do. First ban here is going to be the Nautilus, though. You were talking about that one being a potential pickup. That is going to be taken away. I imagine keeping that focus on Keria makes a lot of sense moving into this game and the next ban. But where is the Cassante ban? That's what I'm expecting to come out here, because that would be what Clear would play every single day into this.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of our Rumbles do well. I mean, when it was actually able to be played and wasn't permabanned.
Yeah.
Our Rumbles, some of them do pretty good into these top lane tanks, able to farm up. T1 has said really twisting the knife when it comes to jungle.
Artie and Nex are battling? This is like a Pokemon battle, and they've both Gigantamaxed.
Oh my God. It's getting intense.
Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous. Hang on a second. Their arms are too short. They can't look each other in the eye and still fight each other. Oh no, don't do the ear slap next. Oh, was that a little cuddle? That
it's hard to tell.
It's like
two T-Rexes fighting, but only using their hands.
Yeah, they're like, no biting allowed. It's like, man, that's
limited range.
I've got all of this evolution in my biting, and that's all I can do.
It's really hard to tell if that ended amicably or if it was like still heated. The intent was not completely clear, but
yeah, I'm a bit worried still. They ban Ambessa instead of Cassante, so Clear just gets it for free.
We have seen Ambessa picked a lot when Rumble's been open this season, which hasn't been much. It has often been into Ambessa.
Oh, Kate Lux.
Yeah.
Oh, Kate Lux. Oh, dear.
That's the thing. They banned the Nami to deny Porky Nami, but I felt like Ashe Seraphine or Kate Lux were the ones I was thinking of as big threats to the 2v2 laning phase. So they come out, and it looks like Raptor with the jungle pool really thinned is just going to go for the Wukong, which, decent diver. You have that with the Akali can be a big threat to this backline.
I like Naafiri a lot more, actually. Naafiri Lulu, we've seen already find a lot of success. Obviously, that was a different version of Naafiri, playing in the lane rather than in the jungle. But Raptor has been decent at this champion. We just need to not have a repeat of that one play that we all remember when he played Naafiri early in the season, and it was just terrible.
That was definitely a hug between them. That was just
okay.
That was
there we go.
They've made amends. Don't worry, everyone. We've managed to solve the crisis. But yeah, as you were saying, the Naafiri, when we first saw this come out in the LCK, it was into Vi. So
yeah,
I think this pick makes a lot more sense, especially into this bot lane of Kate Lux. If you find an angle to attack these two picks, they're great. Like a Lux in particular, if you ult that, get that really easy reset, you can have a lot of value in these fights. So I am a little concerned for the lanes for BNK FEARX. By a little, I mean quite a lot. Lane priority pretty heavily in favor of T1, and it's definitely a matter of, can you survive the laning phase? Can you get to some skirmishes? Can this Naafiri pop off? And I'm struggling after how game one went to see that going well, but you know, that's the task put ahead of BNK FEARX. You have to weather the storm and then start to find some skirmishes and blow up some of these squishy targets.
Well, it is now time to get onto the rift for game number 2. BNK FEARX have an opportunity to bring us to 3 games with a win here. We'll see whether they can. All right, the BNK fans actually managed to get a little bit of a fan chant there. You did hear the T1 roar earlier on, but we do actually have BNK FEARX fans also able to get theirs out. I think we had it in game number 1 as well. We just may have missed it when we were loading on in. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the rift for game number 2. Daystar on his Akali once again. Akali into Azir seems to be flavor of the month as far as the matchup is concerned, and see whether Daystar can once again have a good experience into this. We did see yesterday Akali having a bit of a pop-off despite the result of the game.
Yeah, I definitely think level 6 becomes really dangerous for the Azir in this matchup. And if Raptor can put some attention toward it, could really turn this matchup on its head. But early levels, you know, playing a melee into Azir is never fun. It's kind of like the Yone Azir in that sense, that you are going to get pushed in, you're going to get harassed, but it's about finding those later windows where you can capitalize once you have the all-in potential.
Yep. The early all-in, like levels 1 and 2, can actually be a thing for the Akali as well. We've seen that work out, but like you say, it's obviously level 6 that you're really looking for. So just as much CS as you can find is going to be the aim of the game. The flash in from Keria is going to be met with a flash in from Diable. He's not going to be out-flashed in. Never. Not this young man, as they do take the bad end of that trade. Diable still with his barrier up and available.
So if I'm the bot lane, BNK FEARX, I'm screaming to Raptor, Lux no flash, but Oner has already made his way down here. And if you look at the low health bars, the thing is, Raptor wrapped around, and now might be late to the play. He's now on vision.
Oh dear.
Do they turn onto the Naafiri?
They're like ships in the night. They will pass by one another. Raptor doesn't know how lucky he is that there was no fight there.
To be fair, I think it's pretty hard to pin down a Naafiri. You know, it's very easy for him to dash away and has the W as well to go untargetable. So I think it'd be hard for them to really punish him. And diving there with the Naafiri able to clean up would be so dangerous. So I think T1 make the right move and back away. That double flash from Keria's level 2 and Diable flashing in was crazy but unsurprising, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Diable. That was just the most Diable move that we've ever seen.
It's exactly the vibe that we wanted. There is no doubt about that. As Kellin not quite able to find that Glitter Lance. And BNK, I mean, it's already going better than in game number 1. Don't look at the gold difference with the fact that T1 are just kind of in every lane and the jungle winning. It's not as bad as it was.
Yeah. It's expected to kind of go this way with this early pressure from T1. It just comes down to, can you find opportunities to come back into it? Because if you already have this kind of passive gold lead...
is Daystar just dead? He's going to have to flash. Oner doesn't need to flash and follow him. And that is just flash down for the Akali.
I feel like Oner holding the flash was such a great read. If you flash and just waste it trading. It's not really that much value, but he knew that Daystar was going to flash and just said, cool, I'll keep mine.
Yep.
I'll get the summoner. 4-shot TP as well. Just a nice gank from Oner, capitalizing on the lack of abilities that Daystar had at that time.
Yeah, Daystar is able to teleport back, but obviously without teleport, it's going to mean that this level 6 that he is heading towards relatively shortly, just one level up after this next minion.
I think Flash as well, when we're talking about the level 6 all-in and the Akali, can make a big difference into the Azir.
Oh, yeah.
Can easily avoid his ultimate with it available, so Oner relieving some pressure from his mid laner with that move. But yeah, the expectation is that we are just going to see this passive build-up from T1. It's not a major concern, but if you lose some of these early skirmishes...
Oh dear. Raptor was just backing, does avoid the Lucent Singularity, but then doesn't have the untarget ability for the rest of the engage. Thankfully does make it out, and T1 not going to overextend into that. Only level 4 for Oner, so doesn't have the ulti just yet. Still T1 with a lot of control down here. It is about 6 minions, the difference between the two, and which will continue as Peyz clears out these remaining 3. Light Binding connects, and Diable does still have his barrier available, but that is not a trade that he really wanted to make. As there is the net in, finally the barrier does come on down, and the Light Binding connects once again. Peacemaker is not looking real peaceful here in the hands of Peyz as they just destroy the Lulu.
I think the thing is in this situation is Diable and Kellin were doing pretty well in the early levels. Getting poked in, getting pushed in, but surviving. But as soon as a trap hits, and particularly at this point, Peyz has had a back, he has a pickaxe. Keria has an amp tome. The extra damage after the first back just makes this all in so much more threatening. Diable ends up surviving, but Kellin is so focused on his AD carry that doesn't respect the binding cooldown and just gets deleted. Still had both summoners available, but to be fair, once the binding is hit,
yeah,
they would not save you.
Nope, he was just dead. A little bit unfortunate, though, that Diable and Kellin are once again very far behind in this laning phase. Obviously, Caitlyn is a very difficult lane to deal with,
yeah,
but still, I mean,
I think that's
not looking very good.
That's the thing, at least in this game, is last game it was like you picked Ezreal Nico because you wanted to win lane, and losing that to Alistair Jhin feels terrible. This is a lane... Oh,
the all-out does come on through here as Doran is going to silence himself. There's the dash forward. Clear hits the Q. Can he find it? Is Doran one more auto and Clear picks it up? The solo bolo from the Cassante in the top lane. As here in the bottom side, things not looking great for Diable, who does eat the damage from Lucent Singularity as well. Good combo there as he just made it back to lane.
Cassante coming up huge though, finding the all-in onto Doran. Flash advantage now as well. The sustain from that ult going a long way now.
Ooh,
we do see Raptor moving over here.
Yeah, Keria does have his flash up again, and so is a little bit safer now. And it looks like Raptor is not all that interested in making his way over already. Does have his entire bottom side to clear out.
It's over 1,000 gold lead already for Peyz.
Yeah. It's a big one. We're going to have a look at this one more time as Clear misses that Q, but this all-out angle was exactly what he wanted to look for. Decides not to dance in the equalizer.
Yeah, Clear absorbing a lot of damage there, and then just in the extended fight, Doran's waiting for cooldown, trying to buy time, and that sustain that you get from the all-out really helping Clear there. Oner looking towards mid.
Emperor's Divide comes down. Beautiful avoidance there from Daystar as he gets the second ult to go back towards his turret, so will keep himself alive. And didn't even require the flash as that was still on cooldown. Oh dear, I think Diable may be dead. He dances on top of a trap.
The trap. Great read by Peyz, but Diable just not having a good series so far, and the pressure keeps mounting in this bot lane.
Oh dear, 48 to 74 as well as far as farm is concerned. It's all negatives here for BNK FEARX on the bottom side. As we're going to have a look at this one here on the bottom side once again, and I kind of wish we didn't.
It's just so well played. You're already so low, and it's both of them read it, right? Keria through the binding, and Peyz at the trap down there already. They just knew where he was going to go. They knew he couldn't continue to disengage back towards his tier 2, because as soon as you run out from the turret, you don't have that assistance, you're just going to die. There was only one way he could go, but it was just pixel-perfect reads from both the bot laners of T1.
Yeah, gorgeously done. There's the flash all out. Not exactly the best position, but there's the ulti in from Raptor, and Clear picks up another one. This time with Raptor's help, or at least a little bit of assistance, you could say. But this Cassante is very, very large. The problem is he's building all magic resist, and there is still Peyz that he has to contend with later on in the game.
Yeah.
So that battle, once they do make it to team fights and things like this, is going to mean things can get a little bit awkward.
I mean, the Kinnick Rugen is going to be fantastic for the 1v1, and presumably he gets an armor item next.
Yep, can also fight against Faker as well inside lanes.
Yeah, Peyz is not exactly shredding anyone at this point who is tanky, who has a lot of health. So I don't think it's too much of a concern he's lacking armor right now. The main concern is that bot lane is just bleeding out completely. And as much as Raptor and Clear, this duo, are very good at ganking a Rumble, these two champions they have, you can see with the deficit in bot lane, Raptor is so cautious about coming down, because if Oner is there, you just, all three of you die and you just lose the game.
Yep.
And honestly, even if Oner is not there, I don't know, with how far ahead they are now, there's a good chance you don't get a clean double kill, which is what you're really hoping for if you come bot lane.
Yeah, and every single time a light binding comes out, I'm worried that someone's going to die, especially with Diable's health bar where it is. No barrier available as the Slurkle just barely does not stop Peyz, who puts together his first item. Oh god. There is one weird axe thingy that Diable has in comparison.
Yeah, the problem is we're hitting this point where you get the cashback money complete the first item. If you look at the progress on the bot lane quests, Peyz is nearly done, and Diable's like 3/4. And obviously, eventually, Diable's is going to be done. But between the cashback from the first item and having the quest completed way sooner, and just a general gold lead, Peyz is going to be so far ahead as we go into this mid-game that you can just blow the game open with that advantage.
Well, that's precisely what's happening right now, as we have a Cloud Drake second up. See what the soul is going to be immediately afterwards. But right now it looks like T1 are not going to be contested on the take of Dragon number 2. So Double Dragon once again, bit of a monopoly on that objective so far. As in goes Daystar, looking for an angle towards Faker here, who's moving the wrong direction. Right now, Daystar feeling pretty good. The ulti does finally come out, and Daystar just ults over it and picks up the solo kill in the mid lane. Solo lane is going well here for BNK FEARX, but it's this bottom lane that's leaving T1 still with a pretty massive gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is why we've seen the Akali into the Azir so much. Faker obviously struggled playing against Roma in this matchup yesterday.
Yeah.
And once again, Daystar able to find a solo kill. Just so much mobility and threat onto a champion who normally survives by just having more mobility than everyone else. Oh, that's a TP in from Clear. They're looking for this play.
Yep, they want to try and find an angle as Diable dashing on top of Peyz right now. There's the flash wild growth just to hold Peyz in position as Raptor is trying to make his way down. Cease and desist comes in as he ults over to Peyz in order to get himself out of there. Speaking of out, Clear is now just going to push the rest of them away, and Doran comes in to try and change this. But Clear has that big old shield, and Doran doesn't have the quest completed yet. Clear's health bar still hasn't moved as Raptor down to about 200. Faker is also about to die as Daystar picks up another solo. Keria is exceptionally low as Raptor does go into the sky. Clear pulls back Doran. This Cassante is still gigantic, but hasn't got the kills just yet. And Doran is dancing out of the way of these Qs. Can he avoid it? That's the question, as finally the Pathmaker comes in. And I think Clear will be able to get there. Thankfully, Oner still has a Vault Breaker to get himself out, and it's Keria that moves back to this lane. But what just happened? Who won? I think BNK are in a better position now, right?
I think BNK got a lot out of that, which, you know, considering how far behind they already were, they are very happy with how the play panned out, especially as they got that solo kill in the mid lane in the meantime. This was absolute chaos. Peyz is very far forward. Does a lot of damage to Diable in the turnaround, but eventually has to flash out. And Raptor is like, I'm killing that Caitlyn. That is my goal. Does so pretty easily. But then in this ensuing play, they don't want to chase Oner, who has the dash, so they try and go for Doran. But he escapes and gets a huge equalizer out. That chunks Kellin, chunks Raptor. And then Clear is such a big threat. Finds Keria, but look at Oner here. Dashes in, kills Diable, smites Kellin for the 2 kills. And honestly, without that play from Oner, this would have been incredibly favored towards BNK FEARX. That cleanup, that angle he found there, really was the difference maker. The fact he survives as well. Now we get to see what happened mid lane. We got a brief look.
I think it actually without ultis, right? Yeah, he just gets shot by a sword.
Yeah. Faker just not respecting the gunblade spike in that close range melee. Going forward like that, just gets immediately punished by Daystar.
Well, now we've got a little bit of a 2v2 breaking out here. Raptor is going to leave as it becomes a 3v2 with Keria in the area. Diable has to pick up this wave. So T1 with some control of this top side. You can see already so much vision in the area. There's a cease and desist down as they look for Daystar. He's going to dance on in as Oner is just dead before the fight's even really broken out. And Raptor avoids the Emperor's Divide. Faker is just going to get taken out as Daystar picks up a double. And yeah, T1 not going to be able to do anything about this one right now. Even with a fed bottom lane, they cannot manage to match when Oner and Faker are just dead.
Yeah, I mean, look at the advantage the solo lanes have in BNK FEARX. And yes, Peyz has a 2,400 gold lead, but it's being mitigated by the rest of BNK FEARX to give them an overall gold lead for what feels like the first time in the series. I think maybe they had a little bit of one in the start of game one, but now starting to find a good angle. And I think this Akali Naafiri combo. So fiercely, they go for this engage onto Daystar, but he creates a lot of distance. And they're able to get the reset for the Naafiri.
Oh.
Okay, Daystar looking pretty dead now.
Yeah, he's going to use the Shuriken backflip as now Kellin is moving in. Yeah, shoots Oner with a gun once again. There's the wild growth onto the Akali to keep him alive. Oner is just dead as Faker once again finds himself on the wrong side of the rift. The final spark is not going to do nearly enough as he wants to take Raptor with him, but Raptor will not be going down here as Daystar is now 6-0.
6-0 on this Akali. So far ahead, so fed. And they keep trying to make these picks aggressive plays, but Daystar buys so much time here. You can see the rest of the team collapsing in, the Lulu and the Naafiri on the way. But the Shroud just makes it so hard for these champions to do anything to him. Can't really auto him at all, and you don't have much ability damage. And then Raptor nearly goes down here, but walks on the honey fruit, gets a bit of shielding, and it's Daystar getting a second kill. And this is kind of, you know, we knew the lane in phase was going to be a little bit rough. It definitely was in the bot lane, but the skirmishing power of this BNK FEARX composition, the ability of Akali Naafiri to dive this backline of T1 is so effective. And Azir normally banks on most champions just can't stick to him, right? He has his dash, he has his Emperor's Divide to get space. Both Naafiri and Akali are nightmare champs. You know, you saw Raptor use the reset ult to go in and then just goes untargetable to hop over the Emperor's Divide. 0-4-0 for Faker, 0-3-1 for Doran. Not a good spot right now.
Yeah, it's looking like a little bit of a disaster here as Oner is looking to steal away the blue buff. He will be able to do so, as now Peyz looking like he's in a little bit of trouble. The light binding is going to go wide as Raptor moving in, trying to take down Keria and Peyz. They get the heal for the movement speed, and Oner is now in position. Snap Trap goes down, BNK move out, but it's a 2.6k gold lead. There is a Rift Herald on the map. It looks like that will belong to BNK. That was very satisfying, that 5-point strike on the minion wave as Daystar clears up all that money.
I think one of the problems as well is that we know that Caitlyn in the late game is going to be an absolute monster, but this point of the game in particular, you just don't have the damage to kill this front line of BNK FEARX quickly enough before they just run you over. You know, this Akali who has the Gunblade for a bit of sustain, the Rocket Belt for a bit of health, won't die quickly to a Caitlyn, but will just one-shot you.
Oh, yes.
And the Naafiri also not an easy target to connect to. Clear's starting to pick up some armor, but just has a lot of health and bulkiness regardless. So all the eggs right now are in the Peyz basket, but he needs time. And with how quickly this game has turned around, I don't think BNK FEARX plan to give it to them.
Let's see whether they can actually close it on out, as Peyz actually taking a fair bit of damage now from Diable, who's dashing on in, looks for the angle, finds the ulti in the Arc of Ruin, as now Keria coming on down, doesn't hit him with the shield, as Daystar lurking on that flank angle as he dashes on forward, caught by the binding, and will get taken down. Huge shutdown over to Peyz, as now the equalizer comes in, that's Holds being able
Keria!
The flashlight binding is maybe not going to be enough, as that is a takedown by the Naafiri, At least Doran is able to pick up the kill onto this Yunara, but Kellin baits Oner in, and Raptor is able to take him down. And the top side of the map for BNK are just too fed.
The top side coming in clutch. Raptor with the cleanup, and Faker wasn't even there to assist with the play. The start of the play looked so T1 favored. The binding onto Daystar was massive.
Oh, Clear is just wandering at Faker here. They do a Shuriman high five, and then they just walk away.
So this starts off with some aggression from Diable to chunk out Peyz. We even see Oner just finishing his recall, and they're looking for this dive. Daystar's thinking, I'm so fed, I'm so mobile, what can they do to me? Keria with this phenomenal read there to catch him with the binding. Immediately taking the Akali out of the fight. And then in the ensuing play, this equalizer forces Diable and Kellin here. The binding.
Oh my god, Keria!
So good, but it's still not enough because the Naafiri just one-shots your Caitlyn. And even within killing Diable is worth a lot less than your Caitlyn is. Oner's trying to clean up kills here, but Raptor just chases him down. And the K'Sante is just too tanky to cut through at this point.
Yeah, he is actually on the way to item number 3 as well. Has the Iceborne Gauntlet now completed. Bottom lane outer turret will fall. BNK FEARX already removing the entire outer ring.
You know, we're so used to tanks just being given like the lower econ. Like, you're not getting a ton of kills, you're not getting a ton of farm. It's actually Clear having the most farm on BNK FEARX.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah, and obviously a ton of kills. So this is a very accelerated K'Sante who is just going to be such an issue.
Yeah, and we were talking about it before. I was like, oh, he's building Rookern first, you know? He's not going to be able to absorb the damage from Peyz. Well, yes, he can. Because Peyz is just, even though he is so fed, it's just not quite fed enough. As, oh dear. Okay, the on-spawn Baron into T1. Oner is going to get spotted on a control ward, as the final spark is going to see that this Baron is being taken right before their eyes. And I imagine T1's eyes have lit up, as Oner has stolen these before many, many times. Doran moving on over. It's BNK sticking on this Baron for now, as Clear's tanking a fair bit of damage. Raptor over the walls, they're looking for the turn. But instead, BNK just going to tank a lot of damage and then just try and leave. Light binding onto 2 once again as Keria, after that, just goes down. Peyz trying to kite as best he can as Oner gets the interrupt on the ulti. And Raptor now does not have the on-target ability to get out. There's the cease and desist, as Oner is going to get taken out for it. But he will take Raptor with him. BNK, I think, lucky to get out with a 2-for-1 after that precarious Baron attempt.
Yeah, T1 looking for the top. Oh
dear. K'Sante going all out once again as Peyz is trying to stay alive, and he fails to do so. Still the shutdown goes over to... Oh, that was such a nice polymorph to come on through, and then Daystar with the perfect execution takes down Faker yet again. Kellin, beautiful play from the grave.
You know, it wasn't as clear-cut as I think BNK FEARX hoped for, but it's still favorable just because of how strong their mid laner is right now. There's Akali. Clear takes a ton of damage. Daystar dashes into a trap, but Keria ends up positioning very aggressively and just gets bursted down. This interrupt from Oner, though, is phenomenal.
Oh, unbelievable.
The trap was ready as well from Peyz, but keeping Raptor away went a long way. But then they go for this engage, and it's so hard for Peyz to get damage onto the Akali in the Shroud. They then try and commit more for the play. But with how fed Clear is, he can just do this. Even with him being so low, he just kills Peyz. Yes, he goes down in return, but it sets up the rest of the team to clean up the fight.
And it was 1,000 gold over to Rumble, so that's actually a big deal. Doran has now cut that gold lead down by a decent chunk. But we're still looking at Daystar having a 2.2k gold advantage, and despite the fact that Peyz still is holding on to a huge lead against Diable, he's getting closer and closer towards that Infinity Edge.
Yeah, I think Peyz, ultimately, you need LDR. You need the items so you can actually start to punch through this K'Sante. And even Raptor and Daystar, just their base resistances, but also the health they've stacked up is going to help there. 4 items on Caitlyn is a massive spike, but then you need to survive to get that damage off. And BNK FEARX are just trying to push the pace of this game. It's an Ocean Soul, they only have 2 dragons. They don't want to sit and wait around for that. So they're using this Baron to force T1 in. And Daystar's on this strat.
Oh, the flash binding is going to catch the Akali, but he flashes out of the way. He's in the Shroud already. And the entire time, they're still on the Baron. So that is just going to be taken by BNK FEARX. And Daystar just absorbs the pressure enough to secure it. Still, they will lose this outer turret in the mid lane. And so the Rebel Baron power play, not the most gigantic thing right now, but BNK is still looking for it. The flash in from Raptor. Emperor's Divide is going to stop it as the Wild Growth. Raptor gets out with barely a sliver of health as Daystar. He's able to lock down Oner. There's the dash on forward as Faker is dead once again, but Doran has so much damage on this Rumble as both of the Fed members of BNK are now dead immediately after the Baron goes down. As now Raptor looking for Keria here, but he's baiting one more time. Peyz just nets himself forward, looking to take down Diable. The final spark, not enough to kill him, but the ace in the hole will take him out. And there goes the Baron.
And there's an ace for T1 on the back of that Baron. BNK FEARX, everything seemed to be going right for them this game, but an overstep too far forward. And we see it's Raptor who forces his flashes, not quite in range for the ult yet, but it's so telegraphed.
Straight onto a trap.
Everyone peels for it. And we do see Oner going down here, but Daystar eats so much damage as well in the equalizer. Clear tries to go in, but Peyz starts to cut through him. And then in this ensuing fight, they could have just split. They could have backed off, saved the Barons. But Keria walks up, they try and make the play. Doran just melts Raptor, and then it becomes a 2v2 essentially between the bot lanes. And Peyz is way too far ahead for BNK FEARX to win that.
Oh my goodness, it is a 5,000 gold advantage for the Caitlyn now. That LDR that you were talking about has now been purchased. And yeah, BNK had begun to stack up some dragons. I think that might be stopping here. The gold lead is not really anything worth writing home about, but let's have a look at the difference between the AD carries. As Peyz, yeah, we mentioned a 5,000 gold advantage. He's also farming way more and has done 5,000 more damage than Diable as well.
Diable does pick up the IE, which, you know, it's a nice buy, but Peyz at this point, this is like critical mass for the Caitlyn. If you get a headshot, even onto clear, it's going to do a ton of damage. And it's basically for BNK FEARX, you have to find a way to kill Peyz. And you can't start your fights by just Raptor ulting him in the middle of his team, because they'll peel every time. They have plenty of ways to do it. You need flank angles. Ideally, you want Clear and Daystar both threatening on a flank. And as they aggress in, it causes chaos for T1. They have to try and defend. And that allows Raptor to slide in and clean up. You know, I think Naafiri is so strong in these skirmishes, which we've seen all game, but in a 5v5, you can't just be the primary engager. It just doesn't work that way. You need a bit of space.
Well, Oner is charging up that Vault Breaker, decides not to go in. Keria, though, he does, as he takes a lot of damage as well. The flash out from Oner as now Faker gets himself into position. Sand Soldier's down, doing a decent amount of work. Slurkle slows up Peyz, but he is still able to net himself back. A lot of respect given by T1 here in this mid lane. But BNK standing their ground for now. Clear is a brick wall in the front line. Does have teleport for that big old shield as well if he does want to get that one out.
I think T1 trying to fish for something there, but still have to be so respectful of the damage, the burst potential of BNK FEARX if they go too far.
All right, so 4 turrets to 3. Still only 1 inner has fallen in that mid lane from T1 after that advantage that they were able to pull back. And it was a game that was snowballing out of control for BNK FEARX. And now T1 have that slight gold lead.
I mean, it's 21 kills to 14, and yet T1 have the gold lead.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of insane. Obviously, huge farm lead in the AD carry role, but also a lot of shutdowns picked up over the course of this game.
Yeah, the fact that it was Peyz that killed Daystar the first time is kind of insane. Not to mention Doran being bailed out by that kill onto Clear. He does now have his Jack Shows done. 3 items for the Cassante is scary, but Doran's also pretty terrifying himself. As he teleports in, grabs that big old shield. Decent flank angle here for Daystar as well. Yeah, we do have a leaf out of the Roma and Pool Bay book.
We do have a TP from Clear, but there's no real ward set up that he can go to get an angle. And the TP, obviously, given that big shield, is a big advantage as well. Will he get spotted in the banana brush? They're looking for him. They found him.
They're going to be able to find him here as Doran. Can he land the harpoon? The answer is no. Equalizer comes on through. Shuriken backflip will be able to avoid it there as Daystar desperately trying to escape. He gets into the shroud, but the rest of his teammates are nowhere nearby. Cease and desist comes in, and there goes the Akali. A 4 versus 5 now as BNK are trying to burst down this dragon, but I just don't think they're going to be able to do so until Oner makes his way over here. Keria just keeping them busy as well as they're in the back of the pit. T1 are just going to light them on fire, and Clear is able to dash his way out. That's going to be soul point over to T1. And they are just playing it more methodically here from this mid-game onwards.
Yeah, great catch onto Daystar. I'm not sure if they just sensed that, okay, Akali's missing, probably there. If they saw him walk in there, there's a decent amount of vision in the vicinity. So I'm not 100% certain if they had vision on him prior to him going into that brush, but great collapse comes through. And then they're willing to commit so much for him. They commit the Equalizer, they commit the Vials, because they know if they catch Akali, they remove so much pressure and gold from the fight, it's just a done deal.
And they take him out, and that is going to mean that BNK not fast enough on the Dragon. It's not exactly the end of the world, right? It is one singular Ocean Drake, but Soul Point is still a big deal here.
I think as well, even though Ocean Soul is one that, you know, I don't value very highly, and there's not like a ton of super tanky champions on T1 to get a ton of value. Like Sante could get a decent amount of value from it. I still think with how close these fights have been, it could just contribute to being that tipping point. You know, with how scrappy and long and drawn out some of the fights have been, that extra healing can definitely be a big contributor. Now, we have got the Akali TPing into the top lane just to pick up the wave, it seems, but both teams are laser focused around this Baron area. We can see some control wards set up by T1, pretty shallow, but just trying to defend those as best they can.
5 items have now been completed, not including boots for Peyz.
Yeah, these are some pretty good items.
Yeah, in the time that Peyz has bought an LDR and a GA, I think Diable has purchased a pickaxe. That's kind of the feeling here. As the Baron is being started up once again, Daystar is now lurking. He flashes in, gets the Wild Growth as cease and desist comes through. Peyz down so incredibly low, taken down to the GA, and Daystar's able to go golden. There goes Oner, as Daystar trying to get on top of Peyz, but he doesn't need to. Keria is able to finish off the Akali, but they take down Faker as well. BNK FEARX have wiped out most of T1 and are looking for the Baron.
They just needed someone to lead the charge, and you know, so much harder to peel the Akali compared to the Naafiri, so explosive and quick. And even though we see Daystar get chunked down as much as Peyz does, Peyz going to the GA just is unable to recover from this position. Daystar just flies in, immediately commits the Wild Growth as well for the extra knock-up follow-up. And even though, you know, GA for the Caitlyn and Stasis for the Akali, which, you know, ends up with him dying regardless, it still is taking down this super fed AD carry who is so much of the gold on T1, and as soon as you remove that, it just makes the fight feel so much easier.
Really does. And it is going to shrink that gold advantage that Peyz does have. Obviously, gold is going to mean less and less as he has a control ward right now, but that'll likely be just a completed item relatively quickly.
Not just a gold lead, but burning both Sums and GA. You know, a big part of the value of GA is obviously the passive. And if that's not available, you know, the gold advantage doesn't feel as significant. With Diable now on 4 items, the shield bow, until Peyz's GA is back off cooldown, it kind of feels like he's on 4.5.
Yeah, kind of feels like it. Raptor going to be taking a crab here in this river, as so far the Rebel Baron power play is sitting at about 1,000. That has only been able to equalize the gold between these two teams. There is 100 gold in it. It's kind of insane how close this one is after the absolute decimation of game number 1.
Yeah, you know, game 1, very clean, very surprising based on what happened with T1 yesterday. We're expecting some shenanigans, and this game is delivered.
Yeah, the circus is back in show. We have returned to the tent, ladies and gentlemen. It was certainly business as usual. Maybe we were in the office for game 1, and we're back in the tent for game 2. As this inner turret will be taken out, as the Lucent Singularity does not find much because the light binding missed. And now Oner is going to be vault breaking backwards, avoiding BNK as best they can. 1,700 is the lead, but BNK have only been able to take that inner turret on the bottom side of the map. I believe the inner had already gone down earlier on the top side. And so not a massive amount of value from this Baron. It's this Drake that's coming up in 25 seconds that maybe they need to be a little bit aware of. They have so much vision in the area as now Clear could be in trouble. Faker is moving over and the Vault Break is going to be there. That teleport, a very weird decision for Clear to make as he does look to try and push Oner away. Gets the all out as now Peyz is going to show up. Empress Device sweeps him under the rug. And that is going to be a dead K'Sante for a minute's time. And Raptor actually walked all the way up here to try and defend. The rest of BNK also doing so.
Yeah. Not able to threaten the Dragon on the other side of the map right now. T1 continuing to push here. Oner, though, Doesn't want to face check.
A little bit dangerous as he does try to vault break away. Still, he gets a big old shield, but now Diable getting hit by basically everything and the kitchen sink as Raptor goes down to the GA. The equalizer is going to burn the Yunara to a crisp as Raptor cannot do anything, and it was just fighting a losing battle here for BNK.
And just like that, suddenly T1 might be looking towards an end. Daystar is up and available, but if he ends up getting caught out, goes down, if the binding hits, T1 will just push to finish.
Yeah, 10 seconds on clear here before he is back up and available as Daystar. Let's see what he can do here. He dashes on forward into the Shroud now as well. He blows up Peyz! He will trade himself for it, but that is so much of the damage here onto these structures removed, and that may have saved the game for BNK.
That was enough from Daystar. Finds the play, shuts down the T180 carry, and is able to keep the game alive. I do think Dragon might be handed over here to T1, but this play here, Oner disengaging, and then this binding from Keria. The timing has just been impeccable. Doesn't save his jungler, but we see Peyz trying to put a ton of damage in Diable, but he's saved by the shield bow, but then Doran comes in and just cleans him up. We see the trap catching Raptor, even though he goes invulnerable, so he doesn't die to it, he will go down after. And then here, this Akali still just so much of a threat. With no GA, no summoners, Peyz just gets exploded in a second.
And we're seeing in live as well that the Dragon is going to get sort of brute forced. Keria looking to try and at least be a nuisance in the area, but without Peyz, T1 were not able to stick around. They did get there first, but BNK bully them away.
We saw Faker TPing into mid lane. I expect to try and lean towards the Dragon and secure it, but BNK FEARX able to force our way in and take it. Both teams on soul point. I do think
a lot of Ocean Drakes.
Yeah, I do think BNK FEARX.
Oh dear. Well, Clear is going to find Faker here. He all outs to avoid the Emperor's Divide. They trade ultis. As there's one thing, I think I was a little bit rude to Clear. If you just press your teleport and get interrupted, do you still get the big old shield from the quest? Or do you have to actually have teleported somewhere in order to get the shield? Because I didn't see the shield, but he took a bajillion damage.
I don't think he got the shield.
All right, so that's just, it was just a little bit of a silly
But you know what, I'm not 100% certain, but it's because he had the Kainic Rukin shield, but I don't think he got like the big...
Yeah, because that shield is hefty, right?
Yeah.
So I think I probably would have seen it, but if that was his attempted maneuver, then that would have worked.
Yeah, because that would have made more sense. Obviously, into a Vi, you're never gonna...
No, exactly.
Like, Oner didn't even need to ult, but he had it.
Yeah. He just broke the vault, as it turns out. Clear very close to level 20 as well. Might actually have that on this wave, as never mind sharing the XP means that he does not.
Okay, Rabadon's in for Faker. And honestly, Faker's... I mean, he is behind in gold 1,600, but considering he's down 8 kills, and he's even in items, he has actually got a good amount of gold in the pocket.
And he's also full glass cannon, so he does so much damage.
Yes.
Even if he does die pretty quickly if they ever do get on top of him. A flanking teleport to come through from Daystar, though, as Doran also looking to rotate over immediately, trying to join the rest of his team. As T1 set up in the mid lane, Light Binding goes wide as BNK moving over towards the freshly spawned Baron. Daystar flashes in, they get on top of Peyz! Can they blow him up? They take him down to the GA! But there goes the Akali first off! And there's the K'Sante going down as well. Peyz might actually die as Raptor, he's able to pick up that kill, but Faker is still standing, and we mentioned how much damage he can do. Kellin and Raptor by themselves cannot do enough, and T1 are now closing in on the base!
That's the thing, even though Faker struggled in this game, he's so fed now. He has a second carry, and Peyz buys enough time with the GA, with the summoners. Faker comes up to clean up the Naafiri. Oner is looking for that Lulu.
There it is.
With that, even still down in kills, but T1 will find their second 2-0 of the weekend.
And this time was not the same as game number 1, but still another 2-0 here for T1 in their home ground. As we'll see whether it's once again going to be Keria that picks up another Inspire POM, or whether it's maybe someone else this time. As just all in all, some pretty brilliant performances here by a lot of the T1 players.